Hey, folks, Les CAMO here. I'm not going to have the studio lights on tonight. I'm just going to run the overhead light. And let me just tap this down just a little bit. Okay, let's try that. I want to talk about something totally different. Some of you know, and some of you don't know, that I'm an avid bow hunter. Okay, hunt from a tree stand. Primarily, I do hunt on the ground some. But I want to talk. Now, this ain't going to interest everybody, um, but maybe it'll interest some of you. Now, in 2008, I designed and produced, in my personal opinion, some of the greatest camouflage ever made, in my opinion. My son and I wear it religiously, and we have since 2008. And I've been bow hunting for 40 years, maybe 35, somewhere in there. And my youngest son, he's 41, I think. And he's been bow hunting since he was like able to walk. Killed his first deer when he was 11 years old, and with a crossbow, and the rest of it's history. There's a lot of controversy out there, and that's what I want. I want to talk about the controversy probably as much as anything else. Excuse me. I want to go over something. I've been researching. Oh man, I forgot something. 1 second. 1 second. No, more than 1 second. I forgot my eye chart. All right, folks, I'm back. Leave it to Beaver here, Miss some. Okay, what I primarily want to talk about tonight is the UV rays, for one. Excuse me. UV rays from the sun, for one, and a white-tailed deer's eyesight. Now, I do believe, for the most part, the biologists have it right. But I do believe there's a lot of things they still don't know. Why am I yawning so much? Forgive me. This is alive. So, I just went on this quest the last few days and started digging into this. The research is highly developed scientific research on the vision of deer and horses and cows and goats and different animals. But I still think there's something that people just can't grasp the deer hunts, and that is the color blue. Now, I've got an eye chart here, how humans' vision spectrum and deer vision spectrum. And I'm gonna dissect this a little bit later. And I got this off the internet. Okay, I watched countless videos by scientists and biologists on YouTube. It's readily available. Anybody can go on there and pull up these videos. Deer's Vision. Whitetail Deer Vision. That's all you got to put in. You'll get a slew of stuff. And so I knew when I designed this, I knew I was sitting on something that number one was controversial. And number two, because of the controversy, it made it very hard to sell, money-wise and otherwise. I've been to the trade shows with it. I've talked to all the experts and all this stuff, and people just some areas of a person's brain you cannot penetrate. They refuse to let anything else in there. Now, deer hunters are a special kind of people. They're the real deer hunter. And what do I mean by that? I mean somebody that is willing to put in the work, willing to put in the time, willing to put in the research, and most of all, willing to put in the experience. Like I said, I've been doing this for 35, 40 years. I'm 68 years old. So I've been doing this for a long, long time, and I've killed more deer than a lot of people's ever seen. I've killed, I've got two really nice bucks that I've killed. And I've got other small bucks that I killed years ago. I would kill these mediocre bucks and things, and buku years ago, I just quit doing that and just went to trophy hunting. And when you do that, and I kill my does. Now I get my deer meat and stuff like that. I'll kill my does. And but when you start trophy hunting, I mean trophy hunting, you're not going to kill one every year. It's been 20 years since I've killed a really nice big buck. Okay, and that's okay. That's fine by me. I've killed a lot of deer. I've let some really nice shooter bucks go that most people would shoot because I'm looking for that big daddy. And me and my youngest son been doing that. We've been on the trail of several monster bucks, and we just didn't get that chance. But that's how, when you go from deer hunting to when you go from buck hunting to monster buck hunting, that's a totally different ballgame, folks. I have seen so many monster deer at one time. They're like hunting a different creature. They're like, totally hunting a different species of deer. Not a lot of people have. But I've hunted mostly public land and huge leases with 100-something people also on that lease. And so it probably amounts to the same thing as public land. But now, still, I consider myself one of the best deer hunters in this country. Okay, now, can I show you 25 or 30 monster deer heads hanging on the wall? No. because I don't have nobody calling me and telling me, hey, Jack, won't you come over here and I'll put you in tree stand 4 and I'll send you these pictures of this big monster buck on our ranch over here. And he comes through, about 3:30, 4 o'clock. Come over here and shoot this deer. Now, I ain't knocking that way of hunting, but I don't hunt that way. I don't have the opportunity to hunt that way, and I really don't want to. My whole hunting career, I found my own places to hunt. I've done all my own scouting. I've packed all my equipment in and out. Primarily hunted with up until a few years ago. Primarily hunted with a climber, and but now, hey, if that's how you hunt, that's fine. That's how you hunt. I just would rather not hunt that way. I'm hard headed and I kind of like to do things the hard way. And a lot of things, you watch these TV shows, folks, I'm telling you, Buckmaster and all that, they're selling products, okay? They're selling stuff. So, don't get caught up if you're a young hunter or you just started hunting. Don't get caught up in all that hype. So much hype and bull crap. Uh, when it comes to golf, fishing, and hunting, there's so much bull crap, hype to sell stuff. Okay, beware, beware. Don't overcomplicate it. Okay, that's a whole different subject. I could talk on that for a long time too. This is gonna be kind of long. But it's a very interesting subject, and I'd love to have your feedback if you're a deer hunter. Now, there's a lot of bow hunting forums out there that I could go to with this. And I did that before in the beginning, but man, I tell you, it's a mess. Everybody's an expert. Everybody knows everything. A lot of them don't want dialogue. They just want to tell you how wrong you are and how stupid you are because you put blue in your camo. Are you an idiot? I just shut that crap down. Nobody wanted to have a dialogue about it. They just wanted to become know-it-alls and experts. So I don't even go on them bow hunting forums anymore because, and that's another problem with deer hunting. You get so many people, they listen to, instead of getting the experience and staying curious and working hard to gain the knowledge to know how to kill a deer. Anybody can hunt a deer, but can you kill a deer with a bow? Anybody, can go in the woods, carry a bow, and claim to be a deer hunter. Oh, but do you have the knowledge? Have you put the years in to learn? Have you to be a killer, to take deer? Everybody has started ground zero. But you go out here and you hunt a couple years, you kill one or two deer, you are not an expert. You don't know nothing. Oh, get 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years under your belt, okay, and learn some things on your own, okay, and then you're okay, as Buckwheat used to say. That's another discussion. There's so many avenues to what I'm trying to get at. So, back to the deer's vision, UV. When it comes to UV rays, now, when we go back to this eye chart, I'm sorry, yeah, to the vision chart. Okay, this is the shades. That's gray right there, and then it fades into blue, white, which there's still some controversy about this because some of the biologists say deer do not see white. When they see another deer's tail on the ground, it's blue. It's a light blue. Okay, but what's this white doing in there? If that's the case, it's I'm not so sure it's all settled when it comes to a deer's vision. Um, I believe that when it comes to UV rays, you got medium length UV rays, you got well, right here it is. You got uh, long wavelengths, you got medium wavelengths, and you got short wavelengths. You got UV, UVC, UVB, and UVA. UVA is the longer wavelength, UV wavelength. And UVB is a medium, and UVC, okay, is your smallest wavelengths, and it stores the most energy. It produces the most energy. Is the energy level of C is higher than the other two. And that's where the scientists and all the smarties say that the deer see into that spectrum. Okay, they have no UV blockers in their eyes. They've got oblong pupils. Pupils are like this instead of like this, or a dot. And when they bend down to eat, their eyes automatically go up to where they can see, and they can see about 360 degrees, I think they said, around them. If you're directly behind them and they're looking straight ahead, they cannot see you. But if you go off to one side or the other, they can pick that up. Okay, now, there's so much emphasis on smell and hearing. The white-tailed deer hearing, they say, down in their ear, like with ours, our hearing is about the same as a human. Okay, but the advantage that they have is them big ears, and it traps a lot of that sound. And they can hear for further distances, and that causes them to hear better because them big telescopic ears. And they can directional their hearing. They turn one ear one way and one ear another way, and they can hear in that direction better. And the smell, anything upwind to them, they can smell it. I don't care what it is. If the wind is blowing into the deer's nose, they can smell it. All right. But now these biologists like me, I agree with them. The eyesight is the number one thing that hunters need to worry about. Movement. They key in on movement. Okay. If a predator is downwind from them, they can't smell that predator. That predator pounce on them, and it's over. Okay, and if he ain't looking that way either, but if he's looking that way, he can't smell them. But if they move, he can see them. So, there's a great argument to be had right there between their nose and their eyes. But I'm gonna go with their eyes, and I'll tell you why. I've been sitting in a tree stand before, not know a deer is there, and I just turn my head and they dart out just because I move my head. Okay. And that's, old doe. And I'm convinced of this too. An old mature doe will bust you long before a big old buck will. A big buck, he's careful about his travel corridors. He's careful about when he goes, where he goes, and how he goes. And he don't always walk into the wind either. Okay. But but a big old doe, she's always on the alert. And your small bucks are too. And but they learn as they grow. If they grow old enough for some wax. So um, here's my thing on the UV and the blue. Okay, they say now we got white on this color chart, very small. Okay, however, if it's there, these people are saying they see in hues, HUGHS, I guess how you spell it, HUES. They don't see. Apparently, they don't see like a solid color. Okay, they see. They say the scientists say that they see their foliage in the sky. The reason that they're created to see blue is so they can tell between the sky and their foliage. Deer, you'll all time see them eating leaves and picking on weeds and stuff or gathering acorns. But, they eat a lot of leaves. They spend a lot of time, reaching up and grabbing things. And especially honeysuckle, because that's the only thing in the dead winter that has green leaves on it. And I've killed deer eating honeysuckle. And they're, looking up. They say the foliage, the leaves in the trees, if you're on the ground, look up and you see the leaves, that is a yellowish hue to them. They see the yellowish hue, and then they see the blue sky. Now, this is where it gets controversial. Not to me. I've proven myself. Okay, I've proved all I need to prove. But I want to pass it on, maybe get some discussion out of this. And if you know a deer hunter, primarily a bow hunter. Now, my camouflage is not designed to hunt on the ground. I believe deer do see blue. And blue don't belong on the ground. It belongs in the air. And what I've done with this camouflage, and I'm not on here, this ain't no sales pitch. I've been through that. I'm done trying to convince people of it. Me and my son have a lifetime of camouflage that, so, I'm satisfied with that. So anyway, where was I going with this? The reason it's not designed for ground hunting is because of the blue. Yeah. You got blue jeans on, you got this blue shirt on, my blue camouflage on the ground. They're going to see that and they're going to say, that don't got no business on the ground. But now, I don't care what kind of hunting clothes you got, what kind of patterns you have. There's this thing called UV brighteners. And if you wash your hunting clothes in regular laundry detergent, most of your commercial laundry detergent have UV brighteners in it. Okay, what's that do? That makes your clothes look cleaner to your eye. It makes your clothes look brighter, especially your colors and your whites. Makes them look brighter. Okay. And that mimics, the UV brighteners mimics the UV from the sun. Now, some UVs cause cancer. Some UVs, don't. They just you wind up with a sunburn. Now the UVC is primarily what they say. That's the shortest wavelength. UV is the UVC, and they say that's the one that the deer see the most. Okay. But only like maybe 5% or something like that gets to the earth. I had that on my phone. But now, and this is kind of slow and boring. But hopefully it'll get interesting. I got some hunting clothes back here. A black light is UV light, and it's a UVC. It's equivalent, I believe, to a UVC. Okay, so we're going to see what that looks like on some hunting clothes here in a minute. So deer can see ultraviolet light, primarily UVC, the shortest wavelength. Okay, and now let's see. Here's something. I looked this up earlier. Now, how much UV rays get to the earth? All right, let's see here. The amount of UV rays, just a Google, the amount of UV rays reaching Earth varies constantly, influenced by factors like day or night, season, latitude, altitude, cloud cover. While the atmosphere blocks virtually all UVC and most UVB rays, UVA rays account for over 95% of UV light reaching the surface. You can find the daily forecast for the specific location in the United States. Okay, let's see here. UVA. All right. Pay attention, class. UVA rays. We're talking about deer's vision and ultraviolet light. It's what this ultraviolet light is what this is. UVA. These penetrate the atmosphere and are the most abundant type of UV light at the Earth's surface, contributing to aging and skin cancer. UVB rays. While less abundant, they are more biologically harmful and pose a greater risk for skin cancer and sunburn. Now, here's some controversy in what I've been studying the last few days. UVC, these are completely absorbed by the atmosphere. Okay, now wait a minute. How come if the UVC is absorbed by the atmosphere, then why? Let's find out. What UV rays does a white-tailed deer see? Let's see. White-tailed deer are highly sensitive to UV ultraviolet light because their eyes lack a UV filter. That's okay. I went through that. It allows them to perceive UV wavelengths which appear blah blah blah. Let's see if I can find it. Which one was it? Okay, deer can see into the UV spectrum and perceive blue light perceive blue light about 20 times better than humans. Got no problem. I agree with that. And it goes on about the brighteners and all this. Let's see. They see better at twilight and dusk. I also believe that. Now this right here. Now there's another one on here said that they. Okay, here we go. Because there is no UV filter, their eyes are more sensitive to shorter wavelengths of light, including the UV spectrum. Okay, now the other article said the atmosphere absorbs all the UVC rays. Okay, now this says because there is no UV filter, their eyes are more sensitive to shorter wavelengths of light, including the UV spectrum. Okay. There's a controversy right there. And it goes on to say what you should wear and what you shouldn't, blah, blah, blah. So I've found all kinds of contradictions in my studies with this. Now, maybe it might not be to somebody that's more scientific than I am. Okay, but this says they particularly see, the deer particularly see the shorter wavelengths of light, including the UV spectrum, the shorter. Okay, and I just read to you just a minute ago how the atmosphere soaks up the UVC. Percentage of sun's UV rays, zero, okay, UVC, this here. Hold on a minute. Can y'all read that? What is UV? And there's a chart right there. Okay, got this off the internet. Put my glasses on. I know this is boring, but hopefully it's a little educational to you. It's got UVA, UVB, UVC. I'm going to jump right down to the bottom. Percentage of the sun's UV rays. All right? You get about 95% on the earth during the day, during the sunlight, when it's clear. Okay, of UVA. That's the dangerous kind. UVB is a medium. Now, it's dangerous too. You get too much of it, it can cause skin cancer too. You get about 5% of that from the sun rays. Now, UVC, the highest energy level of UV ray, filtered out by the atmosphere. Oh, can you see that? Filtered out by the atmosphere. UVC right here. Filtered out by the atmosphere. Now, if that ain't a controversy, my name ain't what it is. And, you know, people have pretty much forgot what an optical illusion is nowadays. People they don't understand what that is. What is an optical illusion? An optical illusion is it's standing right there in front of you, but you can't see it because of the surrounding circumstances, because of the surrounding objects. It does not stand out. And that's exactly what camouflage does. Naturally, a deer has to see blue so it can distinguish everything else from the sky. And if it sees it on the ground, it's not natural. The deer knows that. He's looking around. His alarm bells going off, stomping the ground, trying to get you to move. He's like, that don't belong in here. Let's see if I can hear it. And then if you don't move, they'll and blow 2 or 3 times and they're out of there. But if they see that in a tree, okay, if I'm not moving, it's the movement, folks, and it's your outline. That's what I'm getting at. It's your silhouette, okay, and your movement. That's the 2 main things that get some people busted by a white-tailed deer. And I think far beyond any color or anything else, it's your movement. If a deer's been spooked a time or 2 in a place and it's come from a tree, that stays with them for a while. I've had it happen to me in the old days. They get up to a certain point and stop, and they're like, whoa, wait a minute. They'll go the same direction, but they'll go around. They'll do that for a few weeks. And then when they get comfortable again, here they come. You know, people make things much more complicated than they are. Now, what I believe that the key to good camouflage is breaking up your silhouette. Number 1. Number 2, become an optical illusion. Okay, if I'm standing on the ground, I'm looking up in a tree. Okay, I see sky and I see leaves and I see the tree. That's what you try to mimic, and you see blue or you see white clouds. And if a deer sees white as blue, from a logical standpoint, it don't make no difference whether you use white or blue. However, a lot of idiots will shoot at anything they see white. They'll shoot at it. For safety reasons, I normally always use blue, but I do have something with some white here, and I'm going to show you in a minute. Okay, now here's the thing too. Okay, they say they cannot distinguish between red and orange. Okay, it's going to look like a brown hue to them. It's going to look like a, but that ain't on here. Okay, that ain't on here. You see the orange? All these colors up here represent what we see. Down here is how the deer sees them. That's how it sees these colors. Okay, all the way over to purple. Now, if this is what we see as the colors and this is how a deer sees them, what color are you going to use to break up your outline in a good camouflage? Don't take my word for it. Do the research yourself. Okay. The only 2 logical colors to me that you can use to actually break up your outline is blue or white. And for safety reasons, I don't use much white. Now, I've got some experimental stuff back here I'm going to show you with the black light here in a minute versus my own 2008 camo. The stuff that's killer. So if all the other colors the deer sees is in these shades, okay, it seemed to me like this is if this is their world, okay, or they're feeding and all that, this has got no business up in a tree. If they see their foliage, the green stuff they eat and the leaves in the trees, if they see this, if that's how they see what they eat right here and where they live, it's all green mostly. This is how they see their world. They know this ain't up in a tree in the wintertime, that all this foliage is on the ground. And this is all they see right here, for the most part, with some gray in it, because black is perceived as a shade of gray. Okay, as the experts say. So this is their world in the summertime, and that diminishes because all the green stuff starts dying. So they're living over here now. For the most part, on the ground, they're living over here in the wintertime, right? And when they look up, they're living right here, right? Because everything else in their world looks like this. So if you're going to break your camouflage up, okay, this is what you want, don't you think? Don't you think right here is what you want? I mean, come on. You know, science is great, but science don't always know everything, and sometimes science and logic don't mix. It don't mesh. Okay, this is probably close, but I think there's a lot of gaps in this right here. I really do. I think there's a lot of holes in this right here. I've killed too many deer with my camouflage, folks. My son, year before last, 2 years ago, took a big monster 10-pointer with this camouflage. And he's got several smaller deer that he's killed. I've got, where's my camera? You know, there's one. There's another. That's a little small one. That's about the time I quit killing these little, well, maybe in the neighborhood. This is just in my office. That's just a couple of them. That don't include what I got in my living room in there. So, I got a little 8-point right there. First buck I ever killed right there in Fort Benning, Georgia, right there. So there's holes in this, folks. I'm convinced of it. Okay, let's get to where I'm headed here. I think I got this up high enough so you can hear me. Let me turn that up. Now, I don't know how this black light is going to come off. Okay, let's do this. Now, I'm going to tell you something else. I don't always wear my camouflage pants. A lot of times I'll wear, this is real tree. Now, I'm not against real tree, mossy oak, and all that. But take it and hang it up in a tree and back off. look at. Now, not so much this. This has got a pretty good pattern on it. Okay, but that's a different discussion. If you want to see what that CAMO looks like on the tree, look up my other videos on this channel. I got some videos on there. All right, we're going to do this first. Let me see this. So this is real tree. Now, what happens when you turn a black light on and you got stuff that's giving off UV rays? Boom! It sticks out like a sore thumb. I don't know how this is going to do, but you'll be able to see the flags compared to this camouflage here. This camouflage. Let me get this other stuff out of the way. I don't want it to be in the picture right now. Let's see how this. I even got a hat. Let's do this hat. Ooh, look at that. All right, where you at? You see my black light? All right, now, there's a military cap. Some, okay. All right. Well, all right, see that? See how that white stands out? Now, I'll hold it real close. See how them white curtains and that flag stands out? Okay. This camo, it's pretty much UV dead. Okay. Now the white you see here, the bright colors, that's just the light reflecting off the color. If that was full of UV rays, it would stick out. It would stick out like them curtains, or like that flag back here. But it's not that bright, so that's just the light shining off the black light. All right, let's look at something else. Hold your horses. Let me turn the light on so I can show you what I'm showing you. Now I've got some experimental camouflage. Now, this don't have much white in it. Deer might be able to silhouette this, but it's got enough bright. It's got enough shades in it. It may be okay. I'll find out hunting season. Now, I made this. I had this printed up and I sewed this myself. Let's see what it looks like with the light out. And this stuff has been washed in sport wash without any UV additives. Now, see that? Now, is that white? If that white is actually blue. You can't really tell it on there. And the lighter greens, the darker greens. Okay, now. Okay, that's not UV. Okay. That's just the reflection from the UV light onto the material. Now, I'm gonna get to another point here. Even if it was, is that a big deal up in a tree? Even if it was, is that a big deal up in the tree? Okay, anything's going to reflect light back at you. Okay, see, even this here, this blue, it'll reflect light back at you. Okay. Now, some of the limbs in this, you can't see it on there, but they're actually red on this shirt. Okay. Now, that's not lit up like a Christmas tree. Let's look at something else. Oh, I'm going to leave that on. Now, if you want to see something that should stand out, I'll show you in a minute. Now, I'm going to see if I can kill a deer with this. Now, I don't know if you can tell it or not, but that's a real light powder puff blue. Right here. Now, I made this. I had this printed up. Now, let's see what it looks like. All right. Look how that lights up. Okay, that's lit. Okay. Is that what a deer's gonna see when it sees me up in a tree with that on? Okay. We'll find out. Is that gonna be a problem? I'm not so sure it is. Okay. Because you see these brighter colors. Okay. That's going to determine what's going to determine the brightness of that is the brightness of the daylight. Okay, I'm holding that light right on it. See how it fades away? It's getting dark. It's getting daylight. You know? Now I know a lot of y'all think I'm crazy. Okay. Let's look at another. Let's look at another. Now, you want to see something that's going to light up? Look at all that blue. Nice coat. It's fleece coat. Now watch this. This thing reflects so much light it ain't funny. I've killed deer in this thing. Hold on now. It's getting daylight. Ooh, look at this. It's almost white. There's so much blue in that. Look at that. Sun going down. Sun going down. Sun coming up. I'm in my tree stand. It's getting daylight. As it's getting daylight, that's getting brighter. You got more UV rays coming through the trees. Okay? That is what's the deer see? He sees the UV rays in the sky. He sees that right there. It blended in the sky. It's getting dark. Getting dark. There it is. And there you go. Now, to me and to you, that looks bright. Okay, that light is just reflecting off of this here light, naturally. Let's see, you want to see some, you want to see something lit up. Look how the color of them arrows, how that stands out. But the argument stands, folks. Okay, now, little hint on that light. Like I said, turn the light back on. Where you at? I've killed deer in this thing. One more. Here she is, boys. That right there. This is copyrighted. All this stuff's copyrighted material, so don't get no ideas. Okay, this is my 2008 It's camouflage. Now this one's been wore. That's my actual hunting jacket. Let's see what it looks like under the black light. There it is. Now, it's showing up brighter on the computer than what it is here. If you've seen this in person, you know that this is UV dead. Okay, it's just reflecting. Now, I know I'll get a lot of arguments. No, it ain't. That's UV shining off of that. No, it ain't. Okay, but it looks like it on the computer. I'll give you that. But it's not. Okay. This piece of paper. See the difference in that? Okay, and it's just a reflection of the light. The brightener's in that orange. Look at that phone. See the difference? How that's... So that's actually UV dead. And you really can't see it. This really don't do it justice, but you know. All right. You see my hunting clothes. I got some experimental stuff there that I'm going to find out if it actually works. Because I'm going to hunt in it. Deer season comes in Saturday. And I'm gonna hunt that stuff. But here we go. If you do have UV in your clothes, okay, and number one, if all the deer are supposed to see is UVC, that's bullcrap. Because the UVC is absorbed by the atmosphere. It don't even make it to the earth. The only two make it to the earth is A and B. Okay. And C is the shortest energy level, wavelengths, is C. Okay. And your longest UV light is your A, and then your B is the medium. It gives you, they can tell you what all that means. Just Google it. Do your own research. It's not, like I said, the biologists, they took all these animals and they took them into a lab. They sedated them. They went in there and they done all this stuff. They dissected whitetails' eyes. They dissected cows' eyes. And I'm not saying they're totally wrong. I believe in a lot of that science. Okay. But this ain't cut and dry. I do not believe this is cut and dry. And I do not believe the UV is cut and dry. Here's the thing. Here's what I'm probably getting at, folks. And leave me your comments, your questions. I'd like to get a dialogue with some deer hunters on this without an argument or without knowing it all. I want to know what your experiences is. I want to know what you think about this. And what does your own research, the conclusion, bring you to? If your clothes does have some UV light in it, how much UV light is too much? Is any UV light too much? If you have UV brighteners in your clothes, now we're talking about tree stand hunters, okay, not on the ground. if you're say the dye that you in your clothes has UV brighteners in it, okay. Is it above or below what the deer sees, the UV rays the deer's supposed to see? Do you stand out more than the sky? Or do you stand out less than the sky? Can the deer still silhouette you? Okay, my final thought on this, I'm an hour into this. There's two things in my thought process. It boils down more to breaking up your outline and movement. That's the two top major things that you can do for yourself as a bow hunter, a tree stand hunter. And if all they see is mainly in a yellow hue, the only colors that you can break up your silhouette with is something they can see. It's just logic to me. It's just simple logic. If they see it all the same, like this shirt right here, okay, this shirt right here, all right, what are we at? It's got two different kind of greens in it, real light green and a darker green, and then white. Okay, this is, if I ever redo this, it'll be in blue. It'll be blue instead of white. This is just something I want to try. But that white, according to the biologist, is supposed to, a deer's supposed to see it blue. Okay. So think about, you deer hunters, think about what I've said. Okay. If deer see UV and you've broken up your pattern, okay, if your deer see, if they see blue and if they see UV, it seems to me like the only thing you have to do is break up your outline and don't move. And when they ain't looking, draw that bow back and whack them. That's what I've done right here. They have been so many deer killed with this here. I've whistled at them. I've talked to them, and they just get so frustrated because they can't find me, and they'll take off. It ain't for sale. I've got several of those outfits, and I'm not so sure I'd let any of them go or not. Now, I've even given them to certain people. Give me some feedback on it. I don't believe they wore it. I ain't heard a word since 2008 from the few people I sold that to and some of the people I've given that to field test. I ain't heard a word. I don't think they wore it. So, folks, I'm not arguing with the biologists by no means. I'm not disputing everything they're saying by no means. These are brilliant minded people. They've got the resources, they've got the animals, they've got the science. But I honestly think that I have filled the gap in that with my thought process, with my experience, with my money and my resources. It's the proof's in the pudding, folks. And, give me your comments, your questions, your opinions. You got something nasty to say, just keep it to yourself. But I want to just try to start a dialogue with some deer hunters out here. I know what the science says, and I know what I says. Okay, but like I said, you not only have the vision that you're working with, and if they do see UV rays, okay, is it good or is it bad? See, I've done my homework. I've come to my conclusion. I'll just recap one last time. Number one, don't move. Don't get caught moving. You got to move to shoot him. Your timing. Timing is everything to a bow hunter. 15, 10, 15, 20, 25, 40 yards as far as I shoot my compound bow. 40 yards. I've killed several deer at 40 yards. Some people shoot them way longer than that, not me. Anyway, recap. That's a recap. Don't get caught moving. I don't care what you have on. Okay. If you get caught moving, you're going to get that deer's attention. Okay, he or she may bust out or may not. My experience has been not 1,000%, but really, really good with this camouflage. Okay, I've fooled a lot of deer with it. I can say so much more about it, but like I say, we're an hour and 7 minutes in. Don't get caught moving. If you're wearing anything blue, don't hunt on the ground unless you're in a ground blind. Okay, if you're wearing anything white, don't wear it to the woods. Okay, but any shade of blue, I think, in the right place, right time, you're good. Use the UV killer. I still believe that you have to go as close as you can get to killing all the UVs. Use sport shampoo. Use hunting laundry detergent, soap, liquid's what I use. Sport wash is what I use. No UV brighteners in it. And UV killer. You get some UV spray it on there, rub it in. See, I can't hardly focus on one thing. It all spider webs into everything else. Don't get caught moving. Okay, and break up your outline. Break up your outline. And, okay, because according to this eye chart, there ain't no other color. According to this eye chart, no other colors will break up your outline, your silhouette, better than these colors right here. These are, according to this eye chart, these are the only colors. Include that white. These are the only colors, according to the scientists, the biologists. These are the only colors that will actually break up your silhouette, because everything else that they see is in some shade of this, a yellow. If you got anything better than that, let me know, man. Let's talk. Let's debate this. Let's talk about this. Let's discuss this. All right. Hey, this is Les CAMO. I love you. God bless you. And, questions, comments. If you want to go live with me, we can we can, I don't know exactly how to do it, but we can go in here, split screen, however they do that, and we can talk live back and forth. I love you. God bless you. This is Les CAMO. Jesus loves you. And until next time, may God bless. God bless America.